What is up, Space Noids, Earth Noids, and everything in between? I am just a simple new type, and in this video, we are back on Earth following White Base as Operation Odessa begins. Last video, we saw the death of Ryu and its impact on the crew. Also, we saw Amado go rogue and take out one of Makuve's mining facilities. In this video, we will see them continue taking out more of Zeon mining facilities until we get to Makuve's final mining facility, which is where Operation Odessa occurs. So let's get into this. The Gundam is fighting a goof. Captain Bright is struggling to give orders. He still isn't over the death of Ryu. The Gundam takes out the mobile suit. Bright suddenly passes out. They take him to the infirmary. Meanwhile, Makuve is made aware of the destruction of some of his mining bases. Hayato and Amado are working on mobile suits. Amado goes and visits Bright. He sees Bright in a bad state, so he decides not to push him with any questions. A group of Zeon soldiers are monitoring the area. They spot White Base. They use their jetpacks to hop aboard White Base as it passes over. They all split up and attach charges all over the ship. They quickly jump off and wait for an explosion. The explosions come, taking out the MSG particle emitters and ECM transmitters, which I assume stands for electronic countermeasures, but I am not entirely sure. The radar remains intact. 20 DOPs appear on White Base's radar. Hayato and Amado launch in the core fighters, but Mirai suggests that Ryu goes out, forgetting that he is KIA. The team still has Ryu on their minds. Another formation of DOPs appear. 2 core fighters aren't enough to take on the DOPs. Mirai is currently acting as captain, but she is out of her league and still helming the ship. She brings back Hayato and launches the Gundam. However, they launch the Gundam too fast. But he's able to dock, however, so why bring it up? This is like the come take a look of this of Gundam cliches. I'm sure it is to show off Amado's new type potential, but the writing just simply does not come off that way. The Gundam engages with the Zeon fleet. The Gundam takes out a goof in the silliest moment of Gundam thus far. Makuve left White Base, its radar, to lure it into a trap. The Gundam returns to White Base to resupply. Mirai is having a nervous breakdown and struggling to assume command. White Base falls into Makuve's trap. A mega particle turret gets a critical hit on White Base. The ship starts to go down. Amado gets in the Gundam and jumps onto White Base. He takes out the turret. The ship crash lands. Mirai is in full panic mode. White Base launches smoke bombs to hide. It somehow works. It doesn't seem like White Base is going to make it to Odessa Day. The Zeon attack force withdraws for some reason, but who knows when they will be back. The crew is fixing White Base. Mirai goes to visit Bright in sickbay. He asks Mirai to officially take over as commander until Bright gets better. Sayla sends out a message to General Revel to inform them of their situation. Meanwhile, General Revel is advancing towards Makuve. White Base is important to Odessa Day, so General Revel sends out Matilda to help repair the ship and give the crew upgrades to the Gundam and Operation V weapons. She goes out to find White Base. Revel informs White Base of Lieutenant Matilda's emergency response team, the Medea. Makuve sends out 3 goofs with supportive fire. White Base picks up on Zeon forces coming for Matilda's crew. Mirai sends out the core fighters, but Sayla notices that it will leave White Base defenseless. Sayla and Mirai bicker very awkwardly, at least in the English dub. They decide to leave White Base defenseless. Mirai and Sayla feel very uneasy with one another. Amado spots the goofs riding Dodais. Now the Dodai YS is a retrofitted interceptor bomber that is designed to carry mobile suits into battle. They're relatively light compared to how much thrust they can put out. The Dodai also still has its bombing capabilities. It has some air-to-air response weapons, but they are weak, which is why they usually travel with DOPs. Amado tries to get between Zeon and the Matilda Medea fleet. Amado takes out a goof, but he is still relatively useless in the core fighter. He sinks with the gun parry, but a goof starts attacking. Kai comes to the rescue in the gun cannon. This gives Amado time to transform into the Gundam. Two goofs start attacking Medea's fleet. Matilda refuses to abandon ship because it contains the new secret Gundam upgrades. They crash land. The Gundam intercepts the goof. Matilda and crew quickly unloads the new G module as her squad is under assault. Amado is able to take out a goof. Amado is concerned about Lieutenant Matilda, but another goof is coming in for an attack, and the Gundam is under heavy damage. It looks quite bad for the Gundam. Suddenly, Hayato comes in riding the new module, the G-Fighter. The G-Fighter is a new Operation V weapon that is very modular and integrates with the core block system. It has an A and B part similar to the Gundam, and these two parts can be combined to create the G-Armor and the G-Sky. More on those units later. Amado hops onto the G-Fighter. The G-Fighter flies off. The Operation V weapons now have their own version of the Dodai. The fighter goes in. Amado uses his beam saber and destroys the Dodai. The goof lands on Earth, but suddenly, Amado takes his beam saber in the chest of the goof and destroys it. Amado is amazed by the power of the G-Fighter. General Revel congratulates Midai on handling command during a stressful situation. Sayla consoles Midai. It seems their bickering is no more. Matilda shows the White Base crew all of the upgrade modules while ignoring Kai. Kycilia is meeting with her team. She is informed that DOMs were sent to the Black Tri-Stars and another mobile suit project sent to Char on White Base. Amado walks Matilda to Bright in the medbay. Kai asks if he could take a picture of Lieutenant Matilda, but all the men of White Base get in on the action. Everyone here is way too horned up for their superior officer. Matilda visits Bright. Meanwhile, General Revel is informed that the Black Tri-Stars are on their way to Earth. Revel is very aware of who the Black Tri-Stars are because they were the ones who captured General Revel during the Battle of Loon. Check out our Battle of Loon video for more info on General Revel and that battle. He bumps up the Odessa attack. Amado tries to up his game around Matilda, while the Black Tri-Stars get a hold of the new DOMs. Matilda tells Amado that she joined the Supply Corps because it is the only division that attempts to create things instead of destroys through battle. Black Tri-Stars go scouting for White Base. One of the DOMs trips a distress beacon to White Base. They prepare for an attack. Hayato is struggling with the new controls from the gun tank upgrades. Frau Bo takes over for Sayla as she goes to pilot the new G-Armor. Now, the G-Armor is a product of connecting parts of the G-Fighter and both A and B parts of the Gundam or parts of the gun tank. Usually, you would use White Base or the Gunperry to launch Gundam parts, but using the G-Armor allows for an even faster deployment of the Gundam. Meanwhile, the gun tank is engaging with the DOMs, who are way too fast. Midai is struggling to begin launching procedures. Amado and Sayla launch in the G-Armor, with Amado guiding Sayla as she is still a green pilot. Amado controls cannons and fires on the DOMs. The DOMs assume it is a bomber. The gun cannon and gun tank are being pushed back towards White Base. The G-Armor transforms and launches the Gundam, with the G-Fighter module attached to the G-Armor to allow Sayla to continue assaulting the DOMs as well. The Black Tri-Stars engage with the Gundam, while Zeon forces attack. Matilda heads back to the Medea. Amado is pushed to his limits, but he is still holding his own with the Black Tri-Stars. Time slows down. Are we starting to see Amado's new type abilities? Even with new type powers, the three DOMs are too much for Amado. Matilda comes in with the Medea to help the Gundam. Amado takes out the Gundam's beam saber and hits one of the DOMs. Meanwhile, another DOM jumps onto the Medea. Matilda tries to crash the Medea into the ground, but the DOM destroys the cockpit, taking out Matilda. Mash is dead. Two of the Black Tri-Stars remain, and they make their escape. White Base, now fixed, is able to launch and make its way towards EFF. General Revel, hearing of the good news of White Base and the bad news of the Medea crew, makes him push the attack on Odessa to now. As White Base makes their way towards Odessa Day, the crew gives a salute and honor to Lieutenant Matilda, who died in battle. Sayla blames herself for being a bad G-Armor pilot. But what exactly is Operation Odessa? As we have seen throughout our videos on the Earth Attack Force, we know that Makuve, a subordinate of Caecilia, has been working to control the mine, which is a good source of minerals for Zeon forces. After taking over the mines from Earth hands, the EFF realized that they are dependent on the mines and that pushing them out of Earth territory and away from the mines would cripple Zeon forces, so much so that they would have to end the war, or so they thought. During October of UC-0079, General Revel and the majority of Earth forces started making their way towards Warsaw. On November 2nd, Revel gives orders to rendezvous with the rest of the Earth forces, which we have seen in previous videos. It is now November 7th, and the battle begins at 0600 hours. The battle begins before White Base rendezvous with the rest of Earth forces. Bright is back in command. The G-Armor launches. Meanwhile, Guy and Ortega give a bazooka salute to MASH before making their way towards the front line. Amado and Sayla G-Armor spot an EFF Dragonfly coming out of his Zeon ship. They wonder if there was a spy within the Medea crew. Amado finds out that Judok is relaying information to Zeon. He goes to the general of the ship to find out that he is the one that is actually betraying EFF. Amado is able to get him to spill the beans on camera and almost gets shot in the process. He heads out towards White Base, which just engaged in battle. One of the DOMs destroys the gun tank's treads. Kai and the gun cannon is all alone in battle. Sayla and Amado transform. One of the DOMs gets a hit on the G-Armor. Sayla returns to White Base. They take the G-Armor and attach it to Hayato's core fighter to create the G-Sky, or G-Sky Easy. This gives the core fighter an extra boost. Hayato launches. Makuve is being pushed back. As a last resort, he threatens to launch a nuclear attack, breaking the Antarctic Treaty. General Revel doesn't respond and continues his assault. In Kuguru Doan's island, we see a similar version of this play out, except Odessa seemed to be a longer game in that scenario instead of a one-day assault. The G-Sky and Gundam engage in what I guess is the Black Duo stars now. The Gundam rides the G-Sky and attacks and kills one of the DOMs. Gaia is the only remaining Black Tri-Star, Black Solo Star. Bright sims Amado Data and orders him to try to take out the nuclear missile. Bright tells Amado to ignore the DOM, but Gaia is still attacking. He destroys the Gundam's shield. Makuve launches the nuclear missile. Gaia knocks the Gundam off the G-Sky, but Amado quickly destroys the DOM, killing Gaia. He hops back onto the G-Sky, jumps towards the sky, and takes out the nuclear weapon. Makuve escapes the battle, while White Base and EFF take out the mines. Earth is victorious this day. As Makuve makes his escape, he notes that they sent enough minerals to Caecilia so Zeon forces can potentially fight for another 10 years. As Zeon forces make their escape from Earth, the White Base crew finally meets General Revel. And that will do it for this video. This is just a small fraction of what happened during the Battle of Odessa from the perspective of White Base and Amado. However, there was so much more that occurred during the operation. In our hidden one-year war video, for example, we saw the aftermath of Odessa from Zeon's point of view. Like the Battle of Loom, there is so much more to what happened on Earth that day that I'm sure we will make a solo video discussing everything during Operation Odessa. I said that this video would see the return of Char, but definitely in our next video, we will see him make his return. Until next time, new types, remember that the original Gundam is more Super Sentai than you might have remembered. Peace.